He has translated the Great Koran with transliteration, 2021 edition, and is the author of Refer to the Quran, Volume 1. Brother.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. Peace be upon you all. Yeah. So I'm streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and then TikTok, right? I'm on TikTok live also, right? So you can watch me on TikTok at the same time. You watch me on YouTube and Facebook at the same time, right? So I'm streaming live on all the three platforms. Yeah, assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. Peace be upon you all. Thank you all for coming. Sorry for the delay a bit because I was trying to connect on TikTok at the same time. Yeah, salam. Sister Alma Johnson, I see you. Musa Khan, I see you. Mumadi Pedro, Ismail Ajani, 2Gs, The Realist, Tariq Ayub, Dale Crenton. Yeah, is it Dale or Dale? Well, pardon me if I didn't pronounce your name well. And then we have Ismail Suleiman. Yeah, so Salam Fatima teaching. So those coming later, in case I don't mention your name, hopefully I get to mention your name another time. And also on TikTok, so those coming on TikTok, also you get the chance to hear the same thing I'll be saying on Facebook and YouTube simultaneously, because I wasn't able to come on TikTok. Was it yesterday? I wasn't able to do. And I'm going to change my schedules, right? My schedules is going to change. So what I'm going to do is I will be doing programs on Saturdays and Wednesdays. So what I will do is on Wednesdays, I will be on TikTok, right? And then on Saturdays, I will be on Facebook, YouTube Live. That's what I'll be doing, inshallah, right? So thank you all for coming. Moa True says much love from you to us. Thank you very much. Thank you for your presence also. I appreciate that. This is the correctional officer's question and answer section, right? During the week, I've been asked questions. I do get a lot of questions from people. However, there are certain questions when people ask me, I think it is best to bring it on a platform and discuss it to the people instead of just limiting it to just one person, you know. So there are certain questions I prefer to discuss it, right? To bring it, give the answers, then the majority of the people can benefit, because the point is, most of the times, or many a times, I will have similar questions. I will have people ask me similar questions about 3 or 4 consecutive times, like different people, but asking me similar questions, right? Or same questions. So in order for me to just go around answering, why don't I bring it to a platform where I have a lot of people actually waiting to hear from me to actually discuss it, right? If you are here and you are still looking for certain topics, let's say you are looking for a topic concerning Ramadan, Salat, Hajj, Zakat. These are topics I've already done and they are on my YouTube channel, right? You can find it if you have subscribed on my YouTube channel. I still have the same name, the Correctional Officer, or Bush 2G9, or babashuaib. You find me, just type, you find me. And so these are where you get the relevant answers to your questions, right? But however, we have questions whereby I have not done a lecture on them, even though I might have touched on such topics in some of my videos. I have over 200 videos on YouTube, right? and I have over like 100 full lectures that I've done. So sometimes the answers are hidden in some of my videos, and it takes me time to even find them when people ask me. So I prefer to retouch on them like this so that people can actually benefit from it, inshallah. Thank you very much, Moha. True. So this is my way I invite to Allah by perception, I and whoever follows me, and glory be to Allah, for I am not among the idolaters. Right? Thank you all for coming. So let's start with the question of the day. However, when there's enough time, after answering the questions, when there is enough, I'm going to answer about 5 questions. When time permits me, I will, however, open the phone line where people can call and ask further questions, right? Or be it the case that if I have some small questions being asked that I've not answered them yet, I'll bring them on board and answer them when time permits, inshallah. So thank you all for coming. I seek refuge with Allah against the accursed devil. So the first question, I was asked during the week that I said, Salam, babashuaib. I often get confronted with this question, why Allah uses we in the Quran, referring to him alone instead of using I. Does this mean that Allah has a partner with him? Why we? So he said, then please clarify. So I have to clarify this, right? So now these are some of the things I've actually done lectures on them. I've clarified them several times in some of my lectures. For those who are actually, constantly around when I'm doing the lectures, they can actually bear witness to this, that I do answer such questions. Yeah, I do answer such questions, but however, the timing is the key. So if I have it spotted, or the timing for such question has been done in such a way that I put it on a position in the playlist where people can find it easily, that could have been. So that's why I'm redoing this kind of video, so that I can, pin it somewhere on my YouTube channel where people can re-watch and get the answers to it. Yeah, Salam Mubarak, Mohammed Mubarak, and then those on TikTok, peace be upon you all. So to answer the first question, he says, why is it that Allah uses we in the Quran, referring to him alone instead of using I? He does use the word I, right? He used the word I, like to signify him. Yeah, thank you very much, Muha. So let's take the example. When we go to Surah 20, that is Surah Taha, then we go to verse 14, right? Or let's say, let's start from verse 11, right? We start from verse 11, chapter 20, verse 11. Now, throughout the Quran, it was among all the prophets and the messengers, Musa alayhi salam was the only one God spoke to directly, even though he never saw God, but he is the one who heard the voice of God directly communicating to him, right? So we are going to see how, when God was talking to him, how was the speech, or how was the communication? How did it go? Was it the notion of we, or was it the notion of I? Right? We are going to see how was it. So when I take you to Quran chapter 20, we start from verse 11. We are going to read downwards to maybe 15, right? And let's see how God actually made it to be. Then we can understand what was. So let me share the screen. Yeah. So chapter 20, verse 11, it says, so when Moses came to it, he was called, oh Moses, he came to around the fire. But there's a misconception here also. Let me start from verse 10 to clear out a misconception. Where is it? I think it's verse 9. Let me start from above and see. Sorry about this. Yeah. So let's start from verse 9, right? Chapter 20, verse 9. It says, and has the discourse of Moses reached you? In Arabic, we say, Hal ataka hadithul Musa. Wa hal ataka hadithul Musa. So God was taking, this message is addressed to the prophet as a second person singular. So he is being addressed, Al ataka. You see the ka over there signify one person. So he is being asked, has the uh, discourse or the hadith of Musa reached you? When we say hadith, is like a narration, a discourse, right? Some people can say story, but however, in Arabic, you use the proper word qasas. Qasas is for story, right? Or history or something. But when we say hadith, it's a discourse. Hadith is to narrate, to give a narration or to talk about something. So has the narration or discourse of Musa alayhi salam reached you? So then we go to verse, the next verse, verse 10. When he saw a fire and he said to his family, right? Stay here. He told his family to stay. I have perceived a fire. Perhaps I will bring you a firebrand. When we say firebrand, like you take a stick, you put in the fire, you carry the fire, like you understand, something to just warm up themselves thereof, or find guidance at the fire. So this is what Musa alayhi salam assumed, right? That he will find guidance. But as for the specificity of the guidance, we have no idea. So let's see what happened. Then verse 11. So when he came to it, right? When Musa alayhi salam came to it, he came to the fire. He was called, O Moses, or O Musa, right? Now, indeed, I am your Lord, so take off your sandals. Now, you can see in this verse, verse 12, God used the word inni in Arabic, right? In Arabic, we say inni, but he wasn't speaking to Musa alayhi salam in Arabic language. Bear in mind, Musa alayhi salam was not an Arabian, right? So God's language is not Arabic language. So bear in mind also. You know, as some foolish scholars will tell you, oh, we'll speak Arabic in the Jannah, or Arabic is God's language. They are dumb and stupid. I'm telling you, they are stupid, dumb. Arabic language is not God's language, right? So now, if anybody tells you Arabic language is the language of God, just ask him a simple question. Where did God say such? Right? Since when did that person become a linguist for God? To be the one speaking on behalf of God, to tell us that, oh, God will speak Arabic to us. Come and prove it. Hatu burhanakum or burhanaka. Come and show us where God says he will speak Arabic. Or Arabic is his language, native language, if you are not dumb. So God says, Inni ana rabbuka. So he's talking to Musa alayhi salam directly. So he doesn't have to say, we are your Lord. No. So understand when God is talking directly, he uses the word inni, right? Or he can say innani, indeed I, right? So I'm giving you the examples, right? So Quran chapter 20, verse 12, it says, indeed, I am your Lord, right? Indeed, I am your Lord. Say, take off what? Take off your, oh, what has happened to this? Just a second. Something just happened to the PDF I opened. I think it got stuck. Bear with me just a second. What else will I do? Let me reopen it again. Something happened to the PDF. I don't know. I'm supposed to maybe update it, right? I'm supposed to update it. So something just happened. Yeah, bear with me just a second. Yeah, I'm there now. Yeah. So let me reshare the screen. Yeah. So chapter 20 verse 12, he says, indeed, I am your Lord, so take off your sandals. So he told Musa alayhi salam to take off his sandals, the sandals he was wearing to come to that place. Then he says, indeed, you are in the holy valley of Tuwa. So he's telling Musa alayhi salam where he is. So you are in the holy valley of Tuwa. That is where he says, Innaka bil wa'adil muqaddasi Tuwa. So now verse 13, then he says, and I have chosen you. So God, he is talking directly to Musa alayhi salam. So he doesn't have to use the word we. So I have chosen you, Musa. So listen to what is being inspired. So he's going to inspire him, even though he was talking to him, but he's going to inspire him with a message, right? So then verse 14, he says, indeed, I am the God. I am Allah. Then he says, there is no God. That is, there is no deity, something to be worshipped or anyone to be worshipped. Then he says, except me. So you can see he's talking in a singular form. In a singular form, first person form, right? So then he says, so worship me. That is the service we do for God includes in the act of service. If somebody say we cannot worship God and we have to serve God, now God is saying, if you translate it only as serve God, are you saying we can only serve God and we cannot go to work and work for other bosses and get salary? Is that not service too? Is that not serving your boss also? So does that mean I'm a mushrik when I'm serving a boss, work to earn a salary? Does that have to contradict chapter 43, verse 32, if you say we only serve God and we cannot worship God? How about chapter 5, verse 54? You forgot that we're supposed to love God. Now, whatever you love and you serve, that thing becomes an act of worship. So God, we worship God. So service is included in the act of worship that we worship God, because you are supposed to love God. Quran chapter 2, verse 165, believers love God more. So you are supposed to love God because God comes first before any other thing, right? So I put God first before any other thing. My kids, my family, anybody, whoever you are, whether my boss, whether my father, I put God first, right? So God is first. I love God more and I worship God and I serve God, right? But that doesn't mean I cannot serve my boss or serve my parents. You can serve them, but you don't worship them. So you see the difference. So we worship God. So whoever tells you you cannot worship God, sit him down, ask him these critical questions. Can I love God? He will say yes. Can I devote myself to God? He will say yes. Can I serve God? Yes. If you combine all, what does it become? It becomes worship. If the person disagrees, tell him to define the word worship. Simple. Now, Quran chapter 20, verse 14, then God says, indeed, I am the God. There is no deity, that is, there is no God, except me, right? So that except God. So worship me and establish the salat, that is the litany, for my remembrance. So when you establish salat, it is for the remembrance of God. Remember, there's a difference between just saying salat and establishing the salat. There's two different things. Choice of words are very, very critical and important when it comes to the Quran, right? Remember, Quran chapter 10, verse 82, God says, وَيُحِقُّ اللَّهُ الْحَقَّ بِكَلِمَاتِهِ وَلَوْ كَرِهَ الْمُجْرِمُونَ. He says he will enforce the truth with his words, even if the criminals dislike it. So it is the words of God which enforces the truth. So you have to pay attention into details how God chooses his choice of words to tell you things, right? Good. Now, so we see in Quran, coming to verse 15, then he says, indeed, the hour is coming. I almost conceal it. He didn't say we again because he's talking to Musa directly. Understand? So God doesn't contradict himself. Sorry. I almost conceal it in order to recompense every soul for what it strives, right? So God used the word I almost conceal it, meaning he will have decided not to tell us about the day of judgment. We will just be there and it comes. But now he keep reminding us. And that's why, imagine he talking to Musa alayhi salam, but now he's reminding us through the Quran again that the day of judgment is coming. The day of judgment is coming. But people just want to know when. Do you know why people want to know when? It's just like if I have an appointment and the appointment is at 1 o'clock, right? if I know the appointment is at 1 o'clock, I can be doing whatever I want to do. I can shower, I can eat, I can watch TV, Netflix, and you understand, because I'll be checking the clock because I know it's at 1 o'clock. So I can relax. When it's like 30 minutes, then I'll just get up, go take my car and go. You understand? Because you know the hour and the time. So you relax. So the reason why God doesn't want to reveal it directly to you, because you relax. So if you don't know, you are uncertain about the day of judgment, it is only a believer who will get himself prepared, because he doesn't want to wait for the angel of death to appear before he say, I repent. Just like Pharaoh did. You understand? Quran chapter 10, verse 90 to 92. Pharaoh waited till it was the last time. Then he says, I believe in the God who the children of Israel believe. No, it will not work. It will not work. Do you understand? So if you go to Quran chapter 4, verse 17 to 18, God gives you the difference between two types of repentance. You repent out of ignorance, fine, God will forgive. You wait till death comes and you say you repent, it doesn't work. So you don't wait for the last minute before you say you are going to submit your papers. You fail the exams, right? So that is Quran chapter 20, starting from verse 9, coming downwards, and it talks about what? God speaking to Musa alayhi salam, and we see him using the first person singular, always saying I or me, I or me, I. Now the question comes back again. The questioner was asking me that why Allah uses we in the Quran, referring to him alone instead of using I. God used I when he is the one talking. But now the question is, why we? Remember, there's a mediator. Jibril was the one who brought the Quran to Muhammad alayhi salam. He's the same entity God calls what? Ruhul Qudus in the Quran. So I'm going to show you some examples. Now, when you go to Quran chapter 2, verse 97, chapter 2, verse 97, Surah Al-Baqarah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'll put it on the screen. For those on TikTok, if I put it on the screen, you don't see it, unfortunately, but you'll be hearing whatever I'm reading, right? But if you have the Quran next to you, also, you can open it whilst I'm reading. So Quran chapter 2, verse 97, it says, say to the messenger, whoever is an enemy to Jibril, right? Then, indeed, he brought it down. He brought what? Nazzalahu. The who is a masculine pronoun which denotes the book or the Quran, right? He brought it down into your heart. He didn't bring it down as a physical book, like a book, physical book. No, he came down by what? Revelation and inspiration into the prophet's heart, right? By the permission of what? God. So God gave the permission for the book to be delivered by what? Jibril, through inspiration and then what? Revelation. If you go to Quran chapter 35, verse 31, you see it was by revelation he received the Al-Kitab, right? Quran chapter 35, verse 31. So now, by the permission of God, it came down through what? Jibril, as the Ruhul Qudus. He brought it, right? The Holy Spirit, confirming what was before it, and what? And as guidance and good news for the what? Believers, right? Because if you are not a believer, the Quran is trash. Like for whoever is not a believer, if you're reading the Quran, it's a trash. He thinks it's just tales of the past, right? But for a believer, he knows this is a good news from God, and that there's a guidance in it. And then what? Something he has to put his faith, because there's mercy therein, right? Something is wrong with this PDF. I just need to update it, unfortunately. Yeah, let me close it up. Yeah. Okay. So now you've seen in Quran chapter 2, verse 97, that Jibril was the one who brought down the Quran because he was given by God through the permission of God. So he has to reveal it to Muhammad, right? So he was the one commanding Muhammad, Kul huwa Allahu ahad. Say, he, your God, is one, right? Quran chapter 112. Salam, Sayyidunu. Quran chapter 112. He, God, is the one, he, Jibril, is the one telling Muhammad, because the Quran was revealed by the permission of who? God. Now, I work in the sales and marketing department, right? In the branch I work, I'm the supervisor there, right? The branch I work, I'm more like the manager in charge of the branch I work. But what I want to tell you is, I'm not the main boss, but I'm the manager, and or I can say I'm the supervisor over the other workers or the branch. Then whatever the boss gives me permission or command, and I am going to pass on to the other workers. I don't act like I'm just an ordinary person, like to just say, oh, the boss says no. I use the command like, hey, we have to do it like this. Hey, we have to take this and put it here. We don't have to leave this here. I keep using the word we. Now there's a wisdom in the way a message is passed across, because I'm acting on a permission. So using the word we is allowed. Get this right. The Quran came down by the permission of God. It is the word of God, but it came down by the permission of God. But it is delivered not as a physical book. If it came as a physical book directly, then there is no need for the we to appear there. So since it's being delivered by inspiration and revelation, Jibril stands in between by using the formality of we. Now, if you come to where I work and you said, hey, babashuaib, do you guys sell cars? I can say, yes, we sell. We sell. Do you sell tomatoes here? I can say, yes, we sell. Oh, no, we don't sell. We don't have. I will keep using the word we, because I'm the mediator between the customer and my boss. Do you see the difference? But when God was speaking to Musa alayhi salam, there was no mediator that has to intercede in between and use the word we. God has to say I directly to Musa alayhi salam, because it was a direct communication. But however, the Quran was not a direct communication between God and Muhammad. No, it wasn't. There is a mediator. That's the Ruhul Qudus, Quran chapter 16, verse 102, and Quran chapter 2, verse 97. So here is mentioned Ruhul Qudus, and here is mentioned as Jibril by name. Do you see? He brought the Quran down, and it is by revelation and what? Inspiration. So that is why when the revelation comes, he is asking the messenger, he's told to say, Kul. If they ask you about so and so, when they ask you about the hour, if they ask you about the spirit, if they ask you about women, if they ask you about the orphans, say. That's the inspiration there. You understand? The inspiration comes to him to say. So he will now say what he's been inspired to say. So when you go to Quran chapter 112, he says, Kul huwa Allahu ahad. Say, he God. If it was God directly talking to Muhammad, he says, say, I, Allah, am one. Do you see the wisdom there? So understanding how the Quran was revealed is unlike, that's why God gave you the example of Musa alayhi salam in the same book, so that you understand the formality in which God, when God is talking directly, this is how he talks. And when God is talking through a mediator, this is how he talks. You understand? That is why Quran chapter 38, verse 29, it takes people with intellect to actually reflect on the words of the Quran with intelligence to see that how God has, actually conducted the verses in the Quran. Salman Fari says, it says, but doesn't sound, no, put your sentence right. You are trying to say, doesn't it sound like Jibril was doing shirk? That's not what we call shirk. Understand shirk in the first place. Shirk is the act of worship. When you are worshiping God, when you join something in the service of God, that is when it becomes shirk. But when you are acting on a permission, it doesn't become shirk. So listen to the example I was giving carefully. I, at my workplace, I'm a manager, I'm a supervisor. Now, I'm a supervisor based on the permission of the boss. I'm a manager based on the permission of the boss. So whatever will come from my mouth to every worker or to the client, it is based on the permission the boss has granted me. So any action I will do is not to be considered that I am trying to boss myself up with the boss. Understand the difference, right? So that's why I was giving the example. That is not how shirk works. Listen carefully. Had Jibril said, I am God also, or he says, hey, you have to worship me, Jibril also, that is when you are trying to say Jibril is kind of trying to create shirk. understand how shirk works. Anyways. Oh, this thing is still stuck up. Sorry. Just a minute, guys. Sorry about that. Something here is taking a lot of... It's consuming a lot of my space here. I'm trying to close up something here because it's taking much of my space. So I'm closing it down to see why is that happening. How is that possible? It says I've opened 6 pages. How? That's strange. Okay. Yeah, anyways. Yeah, I'm trying to open the PDF again because I think something... I just need to update it. Unfortunately, I didn't see it on time. Hey, salam, Isa Abdullah Shamu. Salam, Sister Natalia, I see you. Yeah, let me try. Hopefully, it doesn't mess up again because I don't know. Okay. Kindly bear with me. I'm trying to see if I can fix this up. Okay. So whenever you are seeing the we, so I'm going to give you some examples. You see, when we go to I'm going to give you an example. Yeah, salam Mahamabu. Now, when you go to Quran chapter 20, verse 21, I'm going to give you an example. When God was speaking to Musa alayhi salam, he used words such as, God said, seize it. When he told Musa alayhi salam to throw his stick down and then to take it and it will become a snake. I'm going to show you the difference on when God was speaking and when we was used. And I'll show you why the we was used. In Quran chapter 20, verse 21, he told Musa alayhi salam, seize the stick and do not fear. Then he used the word, we will return it to its previous motion. Now, subsequently, Musa alayhi salam kept using the stick. Going to Pharaoh, he throws it down, it becomes a snake, then it comes back. So now, when God was speaking to him and he told him, seize it, at the end of the statement, he says, we will return it to its previous state or motion. Consequently, God and his angels are into action constantly with Musa alayhi salam. So even if without the presence of God at that time when God was speaking to him, at the same time whenever Musa goes to do something, remember the angels are guardians, they are around him. Now, in order to understand that the angels are the ones playing that role, for instance, if you go to Quran chapter 82, verse 10 to verse 12, it says, for indeed over you are guardians. Verse 11, who are dignifiedly recording. Verse 12, they know whatever you do. Now, similarly, when you go to Quran chapter 45, verse 29, it tells you that on the day of judgment, the angels have already recorded whatever you said, whatever you did, and they've transcribed everything and they'll present it to you on the day of judgment, that they are with you. But then, as for the prophets and the messengers, whenever they go somewhere, they are doing something, they have the angels guarding them. They are with them. specifically guarding them. For example, if you take Quran chapter 72, verse 26 to verse 28, right? And also if you take the case of Muhammad alayhi salam in Quran chapter 8, concerning the dream he saw, and God says he will support him with the angels, number of angels to help and protect the believers. Now, this is just a scenario, an example I'm just giving on that. But however, to understand how the we and the I are interchanged or used in the Quran, you have to understand that it has no notion of shirk to say there are multiple gods. God has told you several times there is only one God. He never said there are two gods or three gods or we are three. No, one God, right? One, not two, not three. And that is why he showed you the example of how he himself speaks in the Quran by saying I. Now, whenever the we is used, I give an example. One time we had a visitor who came to visit my boss, right? So my boss came with this visitor to our branch. And when we were speaking, he told the person who came to visit that we can do this. He told the person that we can do it. He is the boss, but he used the word we can do it. Now, we can do it in this instance is signifying that he has people to put in place who can get this done. You understand? And that is why the Malaika, they are there for God doing these services. They are around us. They are the ones to cause your death. Quran chapter 32, verse 11, they will cause your death. The angels are there writing everything you do. The angels are the guardians around you. They take turns to be around you. You understand? They are the ones who are your allies in this worldly life. Quran chapter 41, verse 30, you read downwards. They are with you wherever you are. You understand? So when you go to, for instance, if you go to Quran chapter, let me see. Quran chapter 37, verse 164. Yeah, Quran chapter 37, verse 164. And I can share the screen on Facebook, YouTube. If you go to Quran chapter 37, verse 164, and there is not one of us among the angels, except he has a fixed position. Verse 165, for indeed we the angels, that is we the angels, are the arrangers. They are the ones who have been put in place to arrange things, right? Then it says, and indeed, 166, and indeed we the angels are those who glorify. Constantly they are the ones glorifying God, as you saw in Quran chapter 2, verse 30, concerning when God says he was going to place a successor on earth. And then they told God, are you going to create the one who is going to shed blood and cause corruption on earth whilst we glorify you? You understand? So now, to get the clarity of constantly seeing we, usually it is attributed to the angel speaking on behalf of God, right? So now let's take this notion. If you go to Quran chapter 19, verse 64, you see the notion of this sentence. It says, and we do not come down except by the command of your Lord. So here they are telling Muhammad alayhi salam, by your Lord. Then he says, to him belongs whatever is before us and whatever is behind us, right? Then, and what is between. Then he says what? For your Lord is never forgetful. If you go to Quran chapter 21, verse 47, he says, and we will set the scales of justice for the day of resurrection. So no soul will be wronged at all. And if there should be a weight of a mustard seed, we will bring it on the day of judgment. You see the angel speaking, we will bring it. Then he says, for we are sufficient as reckoners. Then chapter 17, verse 15, whoever is guided, then he is only guided for his soul. And whoever goes astray, then he only goes astray against his soul, right? And no bearer of burden can bear the burden of another. And we do not punish until we have sent a messenger. Now, chapter 17, verse 20, we provide for both. That is the father and the mother, right? Or the children, the father, the parents and the children. Then God says, for these and for those, from the gift of your Lord. And the gift of your Lord is not restricted. So these are some of the examples in the notion of how the angels say have been given the permission to say all this is by the permission of God. So the angels do not come down except by the command of God or by the permission of God. Similarly, if you go to Quran chapter 97, read from verse 1, Surah Al-Qadr, then it says, تَنَزَّلُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ وَرُوحُ فِيهَا بِإِذْنِ رَبِّي مِنْ كُلِّ أَمْرٍ. You understand? So it is by the izn of God and by his command, the angels descend and say whatever they have to say that you see in the Quran. So it is not as if the angels are committing shirk with God or something. No. Understand how permission works, right? Okay. Now that is the first question, Dan. I don't want to read any questions on the screen because it will distract the first questions, what brought me in the first place. So maybe I finish. If you can repeat some of the questions I've missed, then that will be helpful, inshallah. Yeah. So then we go to the next question. Question number 2. Then yeah. Brother Paul. Yeah, Brother Paul, Brother Nasir. Thank you very much. God bless you too. Allah bless you. I have the link. I think I can send. Yeah, I can send you the link. We'll talk later, inshallah. Now, question number 2. It says, "Salam, brother. Hope this finds you well." Okay. Then it says, "Why do people find it difficult to accept that only Quran has all relevance to practice Islam?" Then he said, "They seek guidance from Hadith and Sunnah. My friends are distancing themselves from me and have full confidence that I am not practicing Islam by not following Sunnah and the way they practice, etc." So that is the question. Inshallah, inshallah. I would love to see you. It will be a pleasure to see you, inshallah. Now, so this question comes from one of the brothers who sent me the question. He says, "Why do people find it difficult to accept that only the Quran has all relevance to practice Islam?" This is interesting. Now, this is the hurdle that we all have to climb when we are dealing between the truth and falsehood. When it's never easy trying to convince people when you find that there's difference in understanding and you're dealing with something you deem as the truth, right? Now, it is not easy to leave something you have been practicing for ages, for years. It's never easy to stop. It is just like a ritual. You are used to something. It is part of you. It has been, you have adapted to such a thing for a long time, even if it is wrong. So far as you keep doing it and nothing went wrong. If somebody comes to tell you this is wrong, it is never easy to swap or to switch. You understand? And this is where cognitive dissonance sets in, right? Now, what I would advise people is, if you approach the Quran and you later on find out the Quran is the guidance, stop trying to convince other people. Don't start it. This is where you are buying haters for yourself. Don't try going to your relatives, family members, sisters, brothers, and say, "Hey, the Quran is the truth. Come." No. Let me tell you why. Don't do that yet. Quran chapter 17 verse 36 says, "Wala takhafu ma laysa laka bi ilm." Do not pursue that of which you have no knowledge. Do not pursue. So now, if, mashallah, if you have started to see the guidance, try to consume the guidance till the guidance what designs you and you know what you're doing to the highest level first. The reason is, if you just find out that this is gold, but you're not sure this is gold, don't just take it to the world and say, "Hey, I found something I think is gold." No, investigate it first. Make sure you are 100% certain that it is gold before you go to somebody outside and say, "Hey, I have gold." I know how it feels when you feel like you have discovered something and you are in a haste to tell other people. You understand? People will take you as like, they'll think you're crazy. Yeah, they think you're not okay. Because the first thing is they will design you, look at you up and down and say, are you a scholar? The answer is no. How well endowed? Are you knowledgeable in the Quran? Eventually you say no. They will follow up. Do you know Arabic? Eventually, no. Are you trying to say you know more than our sheikhs? Then eventually the answer is no. So how are you trying to convince them with? What are you trying to convince them? It's not as if you didn't find the truth. You find it, fine. That's you. Try to consume that first. Make sure you are certain with what you have found. Remember, on the day of judgment, everyone on its own. A father cannot save the son cannot save the father, because it is your achievement which will save you on the day of judgment. Quran chapter 39, verse 60 to 61. It is the achievement of you have acquired that will save. It's just like in the exams hall. You go for exams hall. Do you think your brother can come and help you, or your sister, or your son, or your daughter? No. You are on your own in the exams hall. What you have studied is what you are going to write. You pass, your name is going to be on the paper records, not your brother, not your sister. Pay attention. So make sure you have studied for yourself and you know the do's and don'ts that God, so that when you go to your relative, they'll start asking you questions and you can answer, so that you will not be lacking answers. The reason why you think the correctional officer is knowledgeable is because I'm well prepared for it. I've studied for years. It's not like I just woke up and I think I know it. No, because I say things I can prove, right? Whether to my relatives, whether to my friends, whether to my enemies, we can sit one-on-one. I'm never scared of any scholar on earth. Wallahi lazim. Because I know how well I've studied. Do you see my point? So with me, I can even do lectures and you people like you can benefit because you are willing to learn more. I'm not saying I know it all, but I know enough to prove what I know. You see the difference? I don't know it all, but I know enough to prove whatever I tell you. So that is why you will never catch me off guard, because I prepare myself before I come on the platform. And that is why you are amazed when I answer questions off head, just like that, because the Quran is something people who know me will tell you about me. A day hardly goes by without me talking about the Quran or touching the Quran or reading the Quran or dealing with the Quran. So are you not amazed that I've translated the Quran? And my books are out. My book is out there. It's not as if I just have it with me only privately. And I dare any native Arabic speaker to sit with me one-on-one on the Quran. Let's deliberate. And he should bring his copy. Let's see also. And let's deliberate. That is the point, because you need to seek knowledge. And when you seek knowledge, investigate the veracity of the knowledge you have. Somebody can have knowledge, but it's garbage knowledge maybe from other narrations of other people or other people's opinions. Do you see the point? Mm-hmm. So now the point is, this person is saying, why do people find it difficult to accept only Quran has all relevance to practice Islam? Now, the reason why they find it difficult is because they have been programmed since childhood to understand that you cannot understand the Quran without the Hadith. Why? Because they tell you the Quran is the words of God, so a normal human being cannot understand the words of God. This is what they told us, all, including me. They told me the same growing up. Do you understand? So by this, they have to indoctrinate you by put certain instructions in your head, mentally enslave you to make you not approach the Quran. So that is why we put the Quran in a holistic form by not approaching it, to the extent they will tell you have to perform ablution before you touch the Quran. Do you see my point? So when they do that, you are now entrapped, because now you have to listen to the native speaker, which is the Arabian. You have to listen to what he says about the Quran. So this is why they formulate new books, and these books have to lie to you to tell you this means this, that means that. Now, if they say Prophet Muhammad alayhi salam is the mufassir of the Quran, or the best mufassir of the Quran, now ask them this question: where is the tafsir of Prophet Muhammad alayhi salam? You have the tafsir of Ibn Abbas, you have Ibn Taymiyyah, you have Ibn Kathir, we have Al-Tabari, you have Jalalain, Yeah, the two Jalals, the Jalalain. You have all these tafsirs coming from them, a lot of tafsirs, but you never have the tafsir called Tafsir al-Muhammad. It doesn't exist. So who gave these entities the license to do the tafsir of the Quran? Now, okay, let's put the tafsir aside. The hadith books, who gave them the permission? You will never see on the authority of Prophet Muhammad. You only see on the authority of Abu Huraira, on the authority of Ibn Abbas, or the authority of Anas bin Malik. That's what the only things you see. So by this, they have to indoctrinate you mentally to follow the protocols they set down for you. You understand? Whilst forgetting that the Quran on its own is the book of judgment. Quran chapter 13, verse 37. It is the book in Arabic language which is to serve for the judgment. Quran chapter 13, verse 37. And the laws you find in the Quran are the laws which God has legislated for us. Quran chapter 45, verse 18. Even Prophet Muhammad was given the same laws to follow. But yet you see the outsiders telling you something different. Why? Because you rely on them to teach you the Arabic language. So now you don't know the difference. They've created the modern standard Arabic, MSc, and they created what they call the Fusha. Quran does, look, you will never find the word Fusha in the Quran. It doesn't exist there. They gave it a name and they created it. If you give birth to a child, you give it the name. Do you get my point? You give birth to a child, you give the child a name. You invent something, you give it the name it's going to be called. Hello, I hope you're following what I'm saying. The Quranic Arabic is called Lisanun Arabiyyun Mubin. Quran chapter 16, verse 103. God calls it the clear Arabic language. That's just the name. God never said the Arabic of the Quran is the Qurayshi Arabic. Nor does he say it is the Fusha. No. Arabians reformulated the structure of the language, formed a new structure by calling it Fusha. So Fusha is the closest to the Quranic Arabic. That's what they have officially. So out of the Fusha, they created what they call the modern standard. So you and I, when we go to the madrasa, they teach us the modern standard. You and I, if you go to the advanced level, they teach you the Fusha. And this, all the grammatical rules you see in Arabic language were man-made. But when you come to the Quran, unlike the Quran, when you compare the Quran to the structure they have put forth, you find out that this is where some Arabians play with words. And that is why the scholars keep telling you, you cannot understand the Quran till you come to them. So when you come to them, automatically they can program you, indoctrinate you, and teach you what they think you have to know. So beware. So the example, for example, if you are based in Ghana or Nigeria, and let's say Hollywood comes to Ghana or Hollywood comes to Nigeria to set up a movie, to come and shoot a movie. Now, mind you, even though Hollywood is the one sponsoring and everything, if they come to Nigeria or Ghana to shoot a movie, doesn't necessarily make the movie a Ghanaian movie or a Nigerian movie. Bear in mind. Because it is America now coming from Hollywood to come and set up the studio and then act the movie there. When they finish, they are the rightful owners of the movie. It is no more belonging to Ghana or Nigeria. Same goes with the Quran. Just because Quran was revealed first to the Arabians doesn't mean it is an Arabian book. There's a difference. It happens to be in Arabic language, but which of the dialects? Saudi Arabia cannot claim the dialects of the Quran is theirs. They can only lie to you, it is Qurayshi Arabic. It's a lie. The answer is, did God say it is Qurayshi Arabic? So now, who said the Quranic Arabic is Qurayshi? Who? Who is telling you these things? Hello? Who? Now, do you see the mental slavery? Because your sheikh says so, this is how they program you. Do you see the point? Approaching the Quran as the source of guidance is the only, I repeat, only source of guidance for your faith in Islam. So somebody will say, but why is it that God says we should believe in the past book? Believing in something in the past is different from following it. If I tell you, babashuaib, my father owns an aeroplane. If you believe or you don't believe, how does it affect your life? Tell me. So the Quran is not only a book of belief. You have to follow certain instructions it gives you. So that is your guidance. It's just like when you have a navigator. You put in navigator in your car. The navigator tells you where to pass. When you follow it, that is what we call guidance. Navigator tells you something and you choose not to do it, that becomes a choice. So you can decide to believe or not. You understand me? There's a difference. There are certain things the Quran tells you, you believe it, you don't lose anything. Somebody tells you he doesn't believe, that is his choice. But if you believe it, you don't lose anything. Okay, I believe Solomon was the best king of all time, according to the Quran. God says he does this, he have the genes working for him. Okay, I believe. You said you don't believe. How does it affect my life? Because you don't believe? No. And me believing in that, how does it affect my life? How? I believe, yes. So what? It affects my life? No. But there are certain instructions in the Quran. If I don't follow, it will affect my life. For example, God says don't eat pork meat. He gave you the reason, right? Chapter 6, verse 145. Because it's filthy. If I eat, what happens? Harmful for me. If I don't eat, that is guidance for me. Because God created me and He's telling me not to consume this poisonous thing. Wisdom. Do you see the point? So that is guidance. So the purpose of the Quran is to give you simplicity, guide you so that He doesn't have to stress your life. Quran doesn't need to mention everything in life before you know His guidance for you. Quran chapter 45 verse 11, God says, Hazahu, this is guidance. And those who disbelieve in the verses of God will have a rough, painful punishment. It's as simple as it is. Somebody will say, I don't believe in the Quran. I don't follow the guidance. Why would God punish me? You are a citizen of your country. If you don't follow the rules and regulations your country set forth, what will the government do to you? They say, don't park your car here. And you go and park. What happens? If they tow your car, you say, oh, I'm a citizen. I don't need to believe the laws. I don't need to follow the instructions. Keep on. The God who created you and I, you didn't choose to be an African. When you were coming on earth, you didn't tell God, I want to be born in Nigeria or Ghana or South Africa. Were you the one who chose that? No. Someone superior than you chose that. So He gave you rules and regulations to abide by for your own good. You said, I don't want to follow the rules of God. That's your choice. How is it that when He's punishing you, you say He's unjust? You see the logic? Now, coming back to the question. So now, when you find the guidance of the Quran, don't try going to convince people. You buy enemies for yourself. People will hate you. People will go away from you, right? If you want to know how I survived such things and people are okay with me at the end of the day, please get in touch with me. I will enlighten you on that. You don't need to pay me anything to enlighten you. But this is not something I have to discuss in the public, right? Because the enemies are watching, right? If I tell you in public, they will devise another means to hate you more. So I'm just telling you because I have a lot of enemies. I can tell you for a fact, people hate me. They hear the name babashuaib, they hear correctional officer, they hate me big time. But the reason why you don't see me getting depressed or slim or headache or something, because I know how to maneuver around the traps. Yes. Quran chapter 3 verse 160, if God should support you, none can defeat you. And that's why you see fearlessness in my eyes. They can never face me on a live dialogue, face to face. Yes. You want to be enlightened, how to get over the family depression, how to get over your community depression, concerning how to approach the Quran and people wouldn't hate you, get in touch with me. I will enlighten you. I'm serious. You understand? Now, what does the Quran say about LGBT? What does the Quran say about LGBT? Yeah. Now, this is the question the person asked. He says, can Islam bring them back to heterosexual life? Can Islam bring them back? So let's see. Is it possible? What does the Quran say about LGBT? Let's see. Let's find out. Now, first of all, when we are talking about these people, we are talking about the gays, the lesbians, the transgender, so on and so forth. Like that is the lesbians, the gay, bisexual, how do you call it? Is it bisexual? Bisexual, right? And then transgender, right? All this. Then there's some new people, some new invention they call gender fluid. Gender fluid. There are people who say you cannot call, if it's a lady, she will say don't call me a she. She will say you have to call me they or them, or you can say he. That's gender fluid. Gender fluid. And that's the world we live in today, right? Okay. Now, when we say the LGBT, now remember, I'm speaking based on what the Quran says, right? If you're looking for my personal opinion, you will never get it. No. But I'm speaking what the Quran says. And I believe in the Quran and I follow the Quran. But don't ask for my personal opinion on that. Okay. Now let's go to what the Quran says concerning that. So let's take Quran chapter 27, verse 54 to verse 55. First of all, before we go to that verse, remember, Quran chapter 4, verse 26. God clarifies to us and gives us the example of those before us in order to guide us by their examples. That is why we are supposed to follow the footsteps of the prophets and the messengers in the Quran for our own benefit and guidance, right? Now, if you take the case of the people of Lut alayhi salam, that is, we go to Quran chapter 27, verse 54 to verse 55. I can put it on the screen, right? Yeah. Quran chapter 27, verse 54, and I'm going to read to verse 55. Listen what Lot said to his people. And Lot, when he said to his people, do you approach obscenity while you see? Now, this obscenity in Arabic, we call it fahishatan. This fahishata or fahisha is what we call obscenity, right? It's an obscene act. It's obscenity. Now, what is the obscene act the people of Lot were doing? Do you indeed approach men with lust? Because they are men and they are approaching other men with lust, like they are lusting after men. According to Quran chapter 3, verse 14, you find what God has made for mankind to lust after. But now, you find that men are lusting after men. So God says, do you indeed approach men with lust other than what? Women? Because as a man, where you have to put your lust is after a woman, not a man. A man doesn't have to lust after a man, right? You have to lust after a woman, not a man. Good. So it's normal for a man to love women, please. It's normal. But to love a man to love a man, to lust after a man, there's a problem, right? In fact, you are ignorant people. So this is what Lut told his people, right? Okay, good. Now the next verse I'm going to give you is in Quran chapter 29, verse 28 to 29, right? Let's see the verse. It says, also Lut, when he said to his people, indeed, you have committed or you have approached obscenity, or you have committed the obscenity which has never happened before you among any of the worlds or any of the living human entities, inhabitants of the earth, everywhere, anywhere. It never happened till the time of Lot. So now he's telling his people, you have approached what we call the obscenity, fahishata. Now this fahishata, keep underlining it. And I'm going to show you that a man approaching a man is an obscenity and it is forbidden by God. And we are going to see it, right? Now, so that is Quran chapter 29, verse 28. And I take you to what? Verse 29, where it says, do you indeed approach men, block off the road? Oh, this thing has frozen again. Okay, anyways, let me close it. Do you indeed approach men, block off the road, and then commit abomination in your society? And the answer of his people was only to say, bring us the punishment of God if you should be what? Truthful. So they are telling Lut alayhi salam, if you are truthful, bring the punishment of God upon us. We are waiting. Again, when you go to Quran chapter 26, verse 165, he says, do you approach the males among all the people? He's telling his people. And you leave what your Lord has created for you as your wives, which God has created women for men. And now you leave the women that God has given you, right? Just like God told Musa alayhi salam, Khuz ma ataytuka wa kun mina shakirin. Take what you have been given, or what I have given you, and be of those who are what? Grateful. So now God gave you the man, a woman, and you said, no, I don't need a woman, I need a man. Okay. Now, in fact, you are trespassing people. Now, this is what Lot told his people. Now, when you go to Quran chapter 7, verse 81, I'm just quoting all the references concerning Lot, right? After that, then I'll draw my conclusion on what I have to say, right? With the evidence from the Quran. So let's Alma Josie says, you forgot like 100 more genders. Paul Macrae says, let's chat GPT answer that. That would be catastrophic if chat GPT should answer that. 2G says LGBT what? PQST plus Chrome for. Liman Imran and Aga Kasalam. Okay, let me try. I'm trying to open this verse. The thing froze because I have to update the PDF. So, anyways, coming back to the verse I wanted to quote is in Quran chapter 7, verse 81, right? Let me put the verse here. Yeah. So I can put it on the screen. Yes, let me put it on the screen here. So Quran chapter 7, verse 81, right? It says, indeed, you are approaching men with lust other than women. That's the question he was asking. In fact, you are a profligate people, right? Okay, now we see all what Lot said to his people, right? And he's a messenger, he's a prophet, right? He's a prophet and a messenger at the same time. So he's telling his people concerning that what they are doing is fahishata. That is a fahisha, meaning obscenity. Now, if I take you to Quran chapter 7, verse 33. Quran chapter 7, verse 33. And I put the screen on the screen here. This is what God says concerning fahisha. He says, say, he's telling the messenger to say, my Lord only forbids obscenities. My Lord only forbids obscenities. What is what? Apparent thereof. And what is hidden of sin. And oppression without right. And to associate others with God, for which he has not sent down any authority. And to say what you do not know about God. All these things are forbidden by God. So anything categorized under obscenity is forbidden by God. Not forbidden by Shuaib, no, not by correctional officer, by God. Right? Okay. Now, so now of all the verses I gave you concerning Lot speaking to his people, can we categorize this act of lusting men after men? Can we categorize it under obscenity or not? The answer is yes, we can categorize it there because it's an act of obscenity. You are lusting a man, lusting after a man. It's an obscene act. Some do it publicly, while some do it hidden. Some people don't come out to say they are that kind of person. But some are boldly out there with their flags telling you we are those kind of people, right? Okay. Now, Quran chapter 17, verse 32. And I shared a screen on YouTube and Facebook. Quran chapter 17, verse 32. And do not approach fornication, right? Fornication. If a married person does it, it's called adultery. But if you are not married and you do it, we call it fornication. So it's the same zina. Zina is used for adultery and it's used for fornication. Any Arabian who tells you zina is different from fornication, is different from adultery, tell him to give you one word in Arabic. What is the word for adultery or this thing? Quran mentions zina. Zina is for both. Because a married person can fornicate, and then somebody who is not married can also fornicate. So that is still categorized as zina. So do not approach fornication. Indeed, it is an obscenity and an evil way. So you see, even fornication, whether you do it with a man or you do it with a woman, still that is fornication. And that is an evil way and is classified under what? Obscenity. It's an obscene act. You understand? So even lasting after the man is classified under obscenity, which is fahisha, which is forbidden by God. We saw in Quran chapter 7, verse 3, God has forbidden such act, right? Okay. Then again, we go to Quran chapter, yeah. Thank you very much. Will Reach Nyama, I love you too. Thank you. Faisal Hussein, you're welcome. Good to see you, bro. Kudisiya Salam, you're welcome. And the next verse, I take you to Quran chapter 4, verse 15, and Quran chapter 4, verse 16. Now, this part I'm going is very, very critical, right? It is a very, very critical zone I'm heading to right now. The verse I'm going to show you now is Quran chapter 4, verse 15. Oh, yeah. Quran chapter 4, verse 15 and verse 16, right? Now, in Quran chapter 4, verse 15, he says, as for those who commit obscenity. Now, in the word allati, in among your what? Women. Henceforth, 4 of you shall testify against them. So if you find 2 women who are lesbians, you should get 4 witnesses on that. Oh, this thing has messed up again. I need to update this, but it will take time. That's why. Okay. So you find 4 with 4 of you shall testify, meaning 4 witnesses have to testify against them. Therefore, if they testify, then restrain them in the houses until what? Death takes them away or God makes the way out for them. Right? You restrain them separately, not together, separately, until what? God. The number of the verse is chapter 4, verse 15 and chapter 4, verse 16. Right? So chapter 4, verse 15 is how to deal with the women when they are, doing that act, obscene act, a woman lusting after a woman, the punishment. And then Quran chapter 4, verse 16. Let me try to put it on the screen so that people, I need to update the PDF, the Adobe. It's having the issue. So I will update it after this, inshallah. It doesn't repeat such a problem. Baba Sayyiduna Kasalam. Aha. Oh, mashallah, Sister Zainab, I see you. Kaisa. Yeah, Sister Zainab, I remember this name. Yeah. Mashallah, I remember you ordered the copy. It's been helpful. She said, Assalamu alaikum, Brother Shaib. Sister Zainab here. The great Quran has been such a help, weeding out all the unnecessary things. Thank you. I appreciate the support as well. Let's keep up with each other, inshallah. We get the benefit from the book of God. Will Richie Yema, thank you. Love you too. Faisal Hussein say, good to see you. Good to see you, brother. And then we have, Kudisiya, you're welcome. Alma Johnson put the verse there. That's chapter 4, verse 15 to verse 16. Right? Yeah, Baba Saidu, thank you very much. So let me put the verse again because I need to update this PDF. I don't know why it keeps doing that, but I will get it fixed, inshallah. So chapter 4, verse 16. Yeah. And as for the 2 When we say allazani, allazani means two men, not women. If it's two women, allati, two women. This allazani, lazani is talking about two men. So as for those two who commit it, who commit what? The obscenity, the same lasting after each other. They do this kind of act, right? This is the punishment among you. Hence, injure them. Injure them means the punishment is in Quran chapter 24, verse 2 to verse 5. The 100 lashes, right? Now, then it says, but if they repent and reform, then turn away from them both. Indeed, God is what? Compassionate and merciful. Now, somebody will say, why do they need to be punished like that? This is a community of believers. If you have a country, every country has their rules and regulation, right? So now let's say if you go to Saudi Arabia, they have their rules. If you go to Egypt, they have their own rules. If you go to USA, they have their own rules. If homosexuality is allowed in the United States, doesn't mean it has to be allowed in another place. Every country has their rules. But however, when we are dealing with religion or Islam, this is another way of life that we have to do from God. In order not to have corruption in your mix, when you start allowing certain acts of conduct to be circulated among people, then it will get to a point you allow pedophilia. You will allow such acts, lesbianism, homosexuality, everything. You allow it. Transgender, you allow it. Then it gets to a point, your kids, you even give them right to become transgender, gay, and whatever. That is corruption of a nation. It will get to a point you start saying, a man will say, a boy will say, don't call me he, call me she. It will get to a point, a criminal will have a right to do crimes. And it will get to a point, your child will become your father, because your child will be the one commanding you, instructing you. We are already seeing it. When a parent gives a child a warning, he can go to the child protection service and say, my father is warning me. And then they can take the child away from you. Just like that. So the devil is taking control of the majority of the people. He made the promise in Quran chapter 7, verse 16 to verse 18, that he'll make a lot of the people to become ungrateful. And that is the generation we are heading to. Right? So it takes a community of believers to eradicate such nonsensical acts with certain harsh punishments. And that is why, for example, if you're selling drugs, let's say you are selling cocaine, there are certain countries you go on this earth, they will sentence you to death. Yes. But you go to other countries, they'll just arrest you and give you some years of prison. That's it. But go to other Asian countries with drugs, cocaine, and see what they will do to you. They will sentence you to death. You see, the same crime, but in other countries, it's harsh. So somebody will say, why does Islam tolerate that when somebody does fornication, they should... What? Then change the laws in your country also. The laws you have in your country, because some laws are biased. Change it. Let's see. Do you understand? God is not forcing you. He's just giving you for the benefit of the people. It's like a community. If we don't want some nonsensical acts to be approached in the community, these are certain laws which need to be put in place so that people will have good moral conduct. Because where is the ethical generations we are heading to? We don't have ethics. There's no morals. All these are thrown out of the window. So it will get to a point you cannot speak against homosexuality, you cannot speak against transgender, you cannot speak up against pedophilia, you cannot speak against even robbery, you cannot speak up against it. It will get to a point like that. Anyways, so now I'm done with the issue of homosexuality. So according to the Quran, this is the laws of the Quran. That is not my point of view, but that is the Quran. And I believe what it says and I follow it. Simple. But that doesn't necessarily mean I'm in a country where they have such laws and I agree with that. I don't agree with them, but that's their law, because that's them. That doesn't mean I'll partake in that. Just like Lut alayhi salam, he was living in a community where people are corrupted, but that doesn't mean he is corrupted. Get it right. If I have the power, I'll stop what is going on, but I don't have the power. Right? So that is why lack of knowledge, my people perish. You need the knowledge, get the wisdom around it, then you can follow the laws of God, and that will help you, right? Yeah. K. Adoli, I have this answer on my lectures. It's called Islamic dress code or something. Yeah, the scarf for the women. I spoke about this. I have a lecture on this. I have some questions to address here. I don't want to be distracted. If I have time, I'll answer your question, inshallah. Now let's go back. Yeah, Yusuf Kaba, salam. You're welcome. Al-Majosi says, what if they don't act on it? Will they still be punished? Yeah, but they will be punished by God. Because if you have an unpunished crime you have committed, even in this modern day world, if a government, you have a unpunished crime, and later on the government discovers that you have not been punished, you can still be punished for it. We have seen crimes whereby it took people 50 years ago, but they are later on being punished because the law has finally found out you have not been punished for it, right? I watched a documentary where a guy was supposed to be sentenced to jail for about 20 years, and then they forgot his case, and he was walking around scot-free, I think in the United States. It's a black guy. Later on, when they realized he has not been jailed, they took him to jail till the country, the community made a protest till he was released, right? So it wasn't his fault. It was the fault of the government not to punish him. But however, according to Quran, Quran chapter 25, if I remember the verse, let me put it here so that you see the verse. Quran chapter, yeah. Is it Quran chapter 25? I'll share the verse on the screen, then we see. Yeah. I'm sharing the verse. Sister Alma Johnson, this goes to you. It's concerning the same topic. That's why I'm answering this. Quran chapter 25, verse 68. When you start reading up to verse, let's say 70, this is what it says. And who do not invoke another God with the God, nor do they kill a soul which God has forbidden, except by just or by right, nor do they fornicate. For whoever does that will encounter sins. If you do this act, it's a sinful act. Verse 69, the punishment will be doubled for him on the day of resurrection, and he will remain there in humiliated, right? Now the next verse, verse 70, except those who repent, believe. Oh, this PDF opener has corrupted again. Adobe, I have to just uninstall this and put a new one because this Adobe version I'm using is a mess, right? So when you read Quran chapter 25, verse 68 to verse 70, you get the clue there. If you repent and reform, God will forgive you. That's what he said. But however, if you are doing that act till you die, he'll double the punishment because you haven't been punished for it here, so you'll be punished for it there as a double punishment. Now, question number 3. Thank you very much, Blinks Black. God bless you too. Question number 3. Somebody says, Salam, sir. I hope you're doing well. I have a question regarding Arabic language. Why did the Quran mention the prophet name starting from Prophet Adam? Well, Adam is not a prophet. God never mentioned Adam as a prophet. If anybody tells you Adam was a prophet, just said, give me one verse where God mentioned Adam as a prophet, right? Adam is not a prophet or was not a prophet. If you want to know the criteria of a prophet, check Quran chapter 2, verse 213. Quran chapter 2, verse 213, 213, where God says mankind was a single nation, right? And then God raised prophets, right? As what? As missionaries and warners, and revealed the book with them in order to judge between the people. So, which nation was the nation of Adam? And which nation was he what? A warner or a herald to bring of good news? And which nation did he judge with the book? He doesn't fall in the criteria of a prophet, right? So Adam was not classified as a prophet in the Quran. Now, anyways, he says, why does the Quran starting from Adam and to Prophet Muhammad, right, in Arabic? Why their names are in Arabic, even though most of them are not Arabs? Example, Ibrahim, Joseph, Yaqub, Musa, Isa, Maryam, Adam, Nuh, Ishaq, Ishmael, Shu'aib, etc. are not Arabs, right? Yes, they are not Arabs, right? Excluding of Muhammad. Muhammad is an Arab, right? But they are not Arabs. But he's asking a question that why is it that all these ones have brother? I think you have a point, right? Okay, I think this brother has a point. Let me try to open with a let me try to open in a Google Chrome or Explorer, just like the Yusuf Kaba says. I'm trying to open this file. I think is giving me problems when I try to open it directly with the Adobe Reader. So let me try opening it with the Google Chrome and see if it's work. If it doesn't, I don't need to force it. Kindly bear with me. I'll be with you in a second. So open with Explorer. Yeah, I'll open with the Explorer. I think it should work. Yeah, thank you for this thing recommendation, Yusuf Kaba. Thank you. I've opened with the Explorer. Hopefully it doesn't have this problems again, because I have to download a new one later. So coming to the question the brother asked. The brother asked a question and he said, I have a question regarding Arabic language, right? Why did God mention the prophets' names, or let's say the names of Adam and so on and so forth? Why does he mention in Arabic language? Now, coming to the question, the answer, mind you, the Quran is an Arabic language, right? However, certain incidents have happened in the past, or certain generations have passed in the past that were not, or they were not Arabs. But however, why is it that God was mentioning the name in the Quran and he used the Arabic language to mention their names in the form of Arabic language? It is simple as ABC. I give an example. Now, when you take the name, for example, Michael, in English, there's this name we call Michael, right? Michael. Now, remember, names have versions. They have versions in languages, different languages. Even English people, right? English people, British, right? British people. If you go to maybe Germany, they have names they call British people, or they have names they call French people. But France call itself France, right? France. But other countries don't call it France. For instance, in Finland, we call France as Ranska. Ranska is same for France, but in Finnish language, when you say Ranska, it means French or France, right? And then they have Germany. In Finland, we say Saska. Saska means Germany. But Germany is in English, right? Then the Germans themselves, they call themselves Dutch. Is it Dutch land? There's something. They call themselves Dutch land. But coming to the names, we have Michael. Michael is the English version for the what? In in Hebrew language, we say Mikael. Mikael, for the same Michael. The same version goes to Hebrew language is Mikael. Then we have, in Arabic, we say Mikal. Mikal, you go to Quran chapter 2, verse 98, right? It mentions Mikal. That is the same name for Michael. Then we have Miguel. Miguel, you go to Spanish or you go to Portuguese, they say Miguel. This Miguel is the same name for Michael. Then we have, let's say, French, they say Michel. For the name Michael, they say Michel. Then for Dutch, they say Michel. They call it like Michel, somewhat like Michael or somewhere. For people who speak Dutch, they can help me on that. Now, this is the same name, but different versions of the name based on the language. Same goes with the names you find in the Quran. Ibrahim, in English, we call it Abraham. Do you see how it goes? Then I think if you go to Hebrew, it's Abraha. You understand? It goes like that. Then Musa, you come to Arabic, we say Musa. You go to Hebrew, we say Moshe. Right? You go to Hebrew, Isa, Arabic, Isa. You go to Hebrew, we say Yeshua. Now, these are versions of names based on language. It doesn't mean just because somebody's name is called Shu'aib, doesn't mean in another language they don't have the same name in a different version. They do. Names can have versions. And that is why when you take the Allah, you go to the Hebrew, they have Elahi. You go to Aramaic, they have Elah. This is how it goes. Names can have versions. Names doesn't only go by, it is only when you have the way you write your name, you can write it everywhere you go, you write it the same way because you have a place you're coming from. So that is why if you take the name like Ibrahim, you go to, let's say, Bosnia, or you go to Russia, they have the name Ibrahimovic, or is it Abrahamovich? Is it Ibrahimovic? Yes, they say Ibrahimovic. They have the Vich to signify where this person is coming from. But names can have versions. It doesn't mean just because you see the name Shu'aib or you see the name Adam in the Quran, that specifically means that they are Arabians. No. The way you pronounce your name doesn't signify where you are coming from. For instance, my name is Shu'aib, but I'm not an Arabian. I happen to have the name Shu'aib. In my country, the same name, we call it what? Shaibu. The same Shu'aib I'm using, because I'm using the Quranic version. My father gave it to me from the Quran. So Shu'aib is my name. But that doesn't mean in my country we don't have the same version. We have the same version, which is called Shaibu. We don't say Shu'aib in Ghana. We say Shaibu. Do you understand? So the way the Quran gives you names doesn't necessarily mean is they are Arabs. No, it is just the version of their names in Arabic language God mentioned. So that is why when you, for whoever has my translation, when you are checking my translation, I've given you the English names of those names being mentioned in the Quran. I gave you the English names. If I'm not specific with a certain name in Arabic with the English version, I leave it in Arabic version for you to see. Do you see the wisdom behind it? So thank you. That is not a complicated issue at all. Yeah, thank you very much, Tujis. So Kudisiya says in Sanskrit, it is Abraham. Yes, it's Abraham. Yes, I agree. Even in Hebrew language, they have Abraham. Yes. Howard TV 360 VR. I cannot pronounce your name. I don't know how you wrote your name, but yes, you seem to have a point on what you said also. And thank you, Sister Alma. Dutchland. Yes, that is German. Dutchland. They call themselves Dutchland, right? They don't call themselves German. No. So that is question number 3. That is done. Thank you very much, Leo Anthony. I appreciate that. Thank you for the support. Number 4. Somebody says, Baba, I would like to request you to present a Quranic explanation over the slaughtering of the cattle. In South Asia and Southeast Asia, it is believed to be obligatory to slaughter the animals. In my understanding, according to Quran chapter 22, verse 37, piety, which is taqwa, is the key, not the dead animals. Please explain when you have a chance. Thank you. Okay, to clarify that, let's go to Quran chapter 22, verse 36 to verse 38, right? I hope this doesn't fail me, right? Quran chapter 22. Verse 36. Wow. This is way difficult than I thought. It is difficult than I thought. Difficult than I thought, Yeah, I can manage like this. I'm almost there. Yeah, okay, I got it. I think I can try to share the screen if it works. I was trying to open. I actually have it on a website, thegreatquran.com, but it's still in the pipeline. It's still on the works, so it's not done. It's not finished yet. That's why I'm not using. If you go to thegreatquran.com, I have a brother Mohammed from Canada who is actually helping me to build that website. But like I can give it for maybe until the end of the year, it will be ready, right? He has a lot to do, so I want him to take his time to finish that. So inshallah, that will be available also. Now, however, I just put this verse here on the screen, and that is Quran chapter 22, verse 36, right? And it says, and the livestock animals, when we say al-budna is a fully grown or ripe animal, which is ready to be used for sacrifice, right? The budna, if you want to know the category of the budna animals, like the type of livestock we have to use for sacrifice, they are mentioned in Quran chapter 6, verse 143 to 144. There are 8 type of livestock, male and female, 8. So that those are mentioned also in Quran chapter 39, verse 6. 8 livestock. Those are the budna. So God says, and the livestock animals which we have made for you are among the rituals of God, or we can say symbols of God, right? There is good in them for you. So mention the name of God upon them in a row or in rows. And when they have fallen on their sides, then eat from them and feed those who are content and those who are miserable. Thus have we subjugated them for you. Perhaps you will be thankful. So now going to verse 37. Then it says, God never attains their meat nor their blood. When you slaughter the animal, the blood doesn't go to God. Neither the meat of the animal goes to God. You have to eat the meat. The blood goes to trash. You throw the blood away. What goes to God is what we are going to see. But he attains what? Piousness from you, because he commanded you to do something, you're doing it. So that's a piousness. Thus has he subjugated them for you, that you may magnify God over what he has guided you. So give good news to those who are benevolent. Then when we go to 38, he says, indeed, God is the shield of those who have believed. Indeed, God does not like all who are treacherous and what? Ungrateful. Now, what is the wisdom behind these verses I just read? Now, the questioner was asking this question. He says, I would like to request you to present a Quranic explanation over the slaughtering of the cattle. In South Asia and Southeast Asia, it is believed to be obligatory to slaughter the animals. In my understanding, according to 2237, piety is the key, not the dead animals. Please explain when you have a chance. Thank you. However, if you watch my lecture on Hajj and the Umrah, I have explained things concerning such, the animal slaughtering. Now, there are the times for the Hajj. However, if you cannot do the Hajj and the Umrah, you do the animal slaughtering. You cannot do the animal slaughtering. What you have to do is the Siyam. You have to do the abstinence, the fasting for 10 days. For those who go to the Hajj and then they cannot slaughter an animal there, right? They have to fast 3 days there. And when they go back to their country, they do what? They do 7 days. You can find it in Quran chapter 2, verse 196. Surah Al-Baqarah, chapter 2, verse 196. I've already addressed such instance where when you are You want to perform the Hajj and the Umrah, and you are prevented, then you do the animal sacrifice. If you cannot do the animal sacrifice, what you have to do is to fast for 10 days during the sacred months. We are still in the sacred months, right? We are still there. Brother Yusuf Kaba, if you watch my lectures based on the Hajj and the Umrah, the one I just did, what is the Hajj? Try to watch that. I've answered that question. He says, where is the Hajj based on your researches, brother? You find the answer there. Where is Masjid al-Haram? Masjid al-Haram is based in Mecca. Go to Quran chapter 48, verse 24, and read up to verse 27. Quran chapter 48, verse 24 to verse 27. Masjid al-Haram is found in Mecca. The whole world, the only place called Mecca is the one we have in Saudi Arabia, right? At the time of the Prophet, that place was not called Saudi Arabia, right? It wasn't called Saudi Arabia. But Mecca, the only place we find it, is in Saudi Arabia right now. Even in the olden days, it's still called Mecca. Right? So Masjid al-Haram is based there. If you find the Masjid al-Haram, that is where you find the Kaaba. So it is there. So if you watch my lectures, you get the answer to that also. So let me go to the last question. Concerning the animal slaughtering, I think I'm clear enough how to slaughter animals. We just need to mention the names of God on this 8 type of livestock. The reason is, this livestock God gave you, these 8 categories of livestock, they don't have claws. They don't have things which are dangerous to harm you. So God gave you the easiest form of budna, the livestock animals which you can slaughter for animal sacrifice. So, an example, in Quran chapter 6, verse 143 to 144, you will find goat, you will find sheep, you will find cattle, you will find camel, both of them male and female, male and female, male and female, up to 8. You can choose anyone you will want among them to do the animal slaughtering. And they are the easiest livestock you can use for such. God wants you to do for piousness. It is not that he needs the meat. He doesn't need the meat. He doesn't need the blood from you. Do you see the point? Question number 5. Somebody asked a question concerning Quran chapter 2, verse 187. Let me see if I can put it on the screen. Chapter 2, verse 187. It's never easy. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I found the verse. Chapter 2, verse 187. I can share the screen. Let's see. Yeah, you're welcome, Yusuf Kaba. It says, lawful for you is the night of the abstinence. That's a night of the Siyam to last after your wives. They are a covering for you, and you are a covering for them. God knows that you had been cheating yourselves, so he has forgiven you and has pardoned you. So copulate with them now, right? And seek what God has decreed for you. Okay, now this is the part the person is asking me the question. So I'm going to read the person's question. Then you see why I read the verses. He said, Salam Baba, I have a question on the above ayat. On the above ayah. When this ayah was revealed, where does it tell them that they were not allowed to have intercourse the whole month of Ramadan? Now, when we read the verse, God says, lawful for you is the night of abstinence. Then he says, to last after your wives. Now, first of all, the statement doesn't say now, lawful for you is the night of abstinence to last after your wife. That's not how the verse started. The verse just started by giving a law, a legislation, passing on an allowance, how something has to be done, right? Then the next statement says, they are a covering for you and you are a covering for them. Then he says, God knows that you had been cheating yourselves. Like you, the man and the woman, based on your cheating, it didn't specify that you are cheating yourself by going to sleep with other women or anything. It is something between you, the man, and the woman. That's why it says the woman is a covering for you and the man is a covering for you, because you know each other's secret. Regardless on how you cheat each other, that's up to you. You understand? Then God knows that you had been cheating yourself. Then he says, so he has forgiven you. He has forgiven you between you, that man, and the woman. You know whatever you do to yourselves, right? Then he says, and has pardoned you. So copulate with them, or we can say mingle with them now, and seek what God has decreed for you, right? So mingle with the women and sing what God has decreed for you. Now, based on the question the questioner is asking, first of all, he says, where does it tell them that they were not allowed to have intercourse the whole month of Ramadan? God never said anything like that. God didn't say, hey, the whole month of Ramadan, you were not allowed. Because remember, the night of Ramadan is still part of Ramadan. So if you say, where does it say they were not allowed the whole of Ramadan? Your question is not clear enough. And then again, you said, I am only asking because the ayah says that they were not allowed before this ayah came down. God never said they were not allowed before the ayah came down. I just read the verse. The verse says, lawful for you is the night of abstinence to last after your women or your wives. They are a covering for you and you are a covering for them. That's it. God never said they were not allowed in the past or something. No, he never said that. You understand? So your lane of questioning, there's a presumptuous instance in your lane of questioning. Maybe you have a preconceived idea or some narrative is confusing your understanding. So you thought there was something forbidden or no. It is only in the notion of the cheating God places an emphasis there, but not in the notion of the night of abstinence something. Because remember, kutiba alaykum siyam kama kutiba ala allazina min qablikum la'allakum tattaqun. So it is not a new thing. It has already been there in the past. Siyam has been done by the people of the past. Do you get the point? So your lane of questions, there is nothing on the foul nature in the Quran is such. So if you're watching, you know yourself. That's the answer to you. And then number 6, somebody says, Salam, Babs, I have been researching on wearing of hijab in the Quran. I have come across this word, zinatakum. Zinatakum in these verses so far, chapter 24, verse 31, Quran chapter 7, verse 31, and Quran chapter 28, verse 79. I was hoping if you could elaborate on this on today's live lecture. Thanks. Coming to the notion of adornment. Yeah, Yusuf Kaba. Yes, it is during the abstinence itself, you are not allowed to do that. But it is the night of Ramadan you are allowed. So it is the night you are allowed. But God never said that in the past we used to allow them only in the daytime. God never said anywhere like that. In the Quran, God never said, oh, in the past, I used to allow the other believers to sleep with their or to last after their women in the daytime. No. Because the Siam itself is like it is it has been specified from the dawn time till the night time. So the beginning of night time, when night starts, that's the time you have to eat and do whatever you want to do, right? So till the daytime when you start the Siam, that time is for you to hold on to the fast. So till when you break the fast, that is when you are free to go and do what you want to do with your spouse or whatever. You understand? Because that at that time you have eaten, you have energy, you have other things to do. So that's when you do, right? Yeah. Let me answer the last question before I come to your questions here, because I don't want to be distracted. So I apologize for this, right? Let me take this. The last question. So he's talking about the adornment. Adornment has been also mentioned in Quran chapter 7, verse 31 to 32. When we say adornments, we are talking about decoration of color or interest that is added to relieve plainness, right? So let's say I'm wearing, I don't have a shirt on, and I wear this shirt, and I wear necklace, and I wear this. This becomes adornment, right? This is adornment because I've adorned myself. Adornment in Islam is allowed. If somebody says it is haram, take him to Quran chapter 7, verse 32. God made for us to enjoy. So who made it haram? Who? If the person says it's haram, if somebody tells you babashuaib necklace is haram, ask him where. Open the Quran and show me where necklace is haram. I can wear gold, silver if I want to, right? It is part of decoration. It is not haram. So decoration is allowed in Islam. Even if you are going to the masjid, Quran chapter 7, verse 31, you are going to the masjid, you can decorate yourself and go, right? Nothing wrong with adornment, right? If something is haram, God will tell you. So somebody will say, can I wear a necklace? It's allowed. It's not haram. Quran chapter 35, verse 12, wearing of necklace is never haram. You can wear adornment, it's not haram. And every country have their way of adorning themselves, or every type of people have the way they adorn themselves, right? So adornment is never an issue of saying, no, in Islam, you don't need to adorn yourself. Look, a woman needs to beautify herself, but everything goes with modesty. Taqwa, libas taqwa. Quran chapter 7, verse 26. You have to dress with modesty, right? Taqwa, there have to be the fear of God involved. So this is why you see me sometimes adorn myself in a decent manner. It doesn't mean I have to look too flashy. It's a simple form, but yes, I have to adorn myself, right? It is part of what makes you feel good as a person, right? That is why when we have cars, we want to wash our cars. We want it to decorate it to look nice. We come to our houses, we decorate, we put things. Decoration is part of us. It's never haram. When God created the earth, he adorned the earth with women, with children, with gold, with silver, with diamond, with horses. These are adornments. All this God made it so that the world can look nice, can have something to rejoice about. So adornment is allowed. Don't let any foolish person tell you that adornment is haram in Islam, right? If they tell you it's haram, let them prove it to you, right? Quran chapter 16, verse 116. You should be careful what you fabricate with your own tongues by saying this is haram and this is halal to lie against God with. You will not be successful when you do that. So that is what we call zinat. That is zinat. That is adornment, right? Okay, so now I'm done with the questions I've been asked. So now let me come to TikTok and let me come to Facebook and YouTube, right? So let me see some of the questions I've not seen. What assurance is there of Jannah in the Quran for a person who follows the Arab hegemony, sacrifices animals, performs Hajj, 5 times Salat, fasts, and is willing to die for Rasulullah? It says, what assurance is there of Jannah in the Quran for a person who follows the Arab? Well, there's no assurance. The moment you say Arab hegemony, sacrifices animals, performs Hajj, animal sacrifice, whether you like it or not, it is part of humanity. It is part of human beings. It is part of human nature. It didn't start from us. It's been there. That is number one. Animal sacrifice, whether you like it or not, whether you are part of Islam or not, animal sacrifice is every part of every how we say group of people's part of life. Whether you are religious or not, you sacrifice an animal, you slaughter an animal, right? So sacrifice is there, and it's been there since beginning of humanity. It's not something new, and it is not an Arabic culture, or we say an Arabic form of invention. Go to any religious book or act of religious act, you will find it there. Animal sacrifice is there. There's a spirituality between what God has instructed you to do and what other people are instructed. There's a difference there. And that is why God says, don't eat a meat which has been dedicated to other than God, because other religions also dedicate their animals to something. If, for instance, in my country, we have people who slaughter animals and pour the blood on idols. and then they conjure spirits with it. You understand? But God never asked me in the Quran to slaughter an animal, to pour the blood for him, or to give him meat. No, he never said that. He only need the taqwa from me. So that's the difference, right? And then he says, animal performs Hajj. Remember Quran chapter 3, verse 97. وَلِلَّهِ عَلَى النَّاسِ حِجُّ الْبَيْتِ مَنِ اسْتَطَاعَ إِلَيْهِ سَبِيلًا. God is the one asking you to do the Hajj, to the Bayt, for whoever is capable. It's not compulsory. He says, so whoever has the means to it. So it's just, Hajj is not compulsory, right? If you have the means to it, you want to do Hajj, that's up to you. And he says 5 times Salah. There's no such thing as 5 times Salah in the Quran. And he says fasts. Fasting, Siyam, it is for your own good. That is to attain piousness. That's why God actually prescribes Siyam for us, right? But that is those things, all these things, they are not the pillar of faith. That is not what determines where you are going to Jannah. No, not these ones, right? These things don't determine where you are going. And you are not doing it, all these things for Rasulullah. You are doing it for God, right? What did I miss? I think I can stay here for 30 minutes more before I go. Let me see on TikTok. On TikTok, some people, Malik Satina says, hello, bro, how are you? I'm good. Servant of Allah, sorry, salam. I just saw your message. Sorry. Gino Bell says, Adam is not a person, brother. That's your opinion. He says, Adam is not a person. That's your opinion. Right? No problem. Shaibu says, please, what is the meaning of Shaibu? I already told you where the name comes from. The name Shaibu comes from Shu'aib. That is the shower of people to the path, like somebody who leads people to guidance or shows people the way to guidance. That is Shu'aib. That's what it means. But Shaibu is just a version of it in the Ghana, in Ghana, right? Or to say the northern part of Ghana. That is a Ghana version. Gino Bell says, Adam is meant all man and woman. I wish you can call on life and then prove that. And we go through the verses and I will see how good you are with the verses in the Quran to prove to me where God says Adam is meant by man, all man and all woman. So you can prove that. Say, salam, brother. Can you please advise on head scarf for women? Yeah, I just spoke about something of that sort, right? Guy says, are you Muslim or not? I'm a submitter to God. I'm a Muslim to God. I submit to God. That's what makes me a Muslim. Okay. Yeah, Angel Monia says, all praise is due to Allah. Hold tight to the Quran. The rest are all error. Yes, it's true. I agree. Trent Arnold says, bro, how are you? You usually sell to me some goods as lepover. Yeah, it's me. Salman Farid says, please don't vex, but such Safat 81 says, our servant. To serve has to do with a boss. If you're serving somebody, you become the person's servant, right? At work, if I'm serving my boss, I'm his servant. That doesn't mean I'm worshiping my boss. Understand the difference. Yeah, you can be someone's servant, but that doesn't mean you are worshiping him. That's why I'm trying to differentiate the instance of serving somebody, right? You can be somebody's servant, but that doesn't mean you are worshiping him. There's a difference there. Worship is only for God. We don't worship anyone but God. So the moment you are worshiping any other entity, that becomes idol worship. So Quran chapter 4, verse 36, right? I can put the verse on the screen. Quran chapter 4, verse 36. Let me put the verse on the screen. Okay. So he says, worship God and do not associate anything with him. Right? Worship God. Quran chapter 4, verse 36. Worship God and do not associate anything with him. So when it comes to the act of worship, it's only God we have to worship, nothing else. You cannot associate anything with God to worship God. Then again, I take you to Quran chapter 18, verse 110. Yeah, Quran chapter 18, verse 110. The messenger was asked to say, "Say, I am only a human like you, to whom has been inspired that your God is one God. So whoever is expecting to meet his Lord, then let him do righteous work and should not associate anyone in the worship of his Lord." Right? When you are worshiping God, don't associate anyone with God to worship together. No, worship only God. But when it comes to service, of course, the same word, abada, the same word has different meanings. In Arabic, one word can have multiple meanings. It depends on the subject and context of discussion. Then you can use the other meaning to mean what the context allows, right? So, however, in the context of abada, to serve, you can serve other people in terms of work or other activities, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean you are worshiping them when you are serving, right? There's a difference. Yeah. So Yusuf Kaba says, do you take off the other scriptures before Quran, Brother Shaib? Your question is not clear enough. I don't understand this question. Can you rephrase your question? It's not clear enough. And we are servants of God, not slaves, because slaves mean the free will is limited. Yes, yes. We are rather servants. We are not slaves of God. You are not a slave to God. God gives you free will to serve him. So we are never the slaves of God. We are the servants of God. Even though they come from the same word, but one word has multiple meanings, it is always the stronger one for the context, not otherwise. Right? We are not slaves. A slave doesn't have a free will. It doesn't have a choice. A slave has to do what he's instructed without any objection, without any free will. Right? We are the servants of God. We have a choice to make. When you say you don't take other scriptures as arguments or believe that they are from God, so which scriptures are you talking about? Can you be specific? Which scripture? Quran only talks about the Torah, the Injil, the Zabur, right? These are what he mentions, right? So which scripture are you talking about? So just be specific. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, this is my WhatsApp number. For whoever wants to call, you can call before I end the program. Salam, Ali Mohammed, I see you. So God is not talking in plurals, majesties. Robson, I didn't get your question on time. Prime and proper, sorry, I just saw your salam. Salam, sister. I didn't see it on time. Dreams, blessed, peace and blessings. I just saw your message now. MK1, hi, brother. Okay, so TikTok, yeah, salam, brother. Gang Hishkan Padisha. Salam from Singapore. Yes, Sarin Kamis, you're welcome, Sarin. Mohammed Babarak says, Babs, I asked you a question on WhatsApp. I hope you can elaborate that for me. Question on WhatsApp? Mohammed Mubarak says, no, Muhammad Mubarak, I just spoke about that. Hijab in the Quran was never used to mean to cover the hair. Never. You'll never find one verse in the Quran where hijab is used to mean to cover the hair. But however, zinatakum, adornment, I explained not long ago about the adornments, right? Adornment is what you use to decorate yourself, to wear like necklace. What I'm wearing now is adornment because I have adorned myself apart from my plain skin. You understand? When I'm naked, there's no adornment. When I put it, there's an adornment. However, women, they have two types of adornments with them. Women, they have been adorned with the shape of their body, their breasts, their hips, the back, and whatever. Then again, they have extra adornments they have to decorate themselves, right? So women, they have to hide the adornment within and only disclose it to their, husbands and maybe the close relatives. Because if a woman is breastfeeding a baby, she can do that in front of her family members. It doesn't matter. She can actually give the breast to the kid in front of family members. But however, when she's outside, according to the Quran, chapter 24, verse 31, based on the criteria, it is not recommended for her to show off her adornments to the world, right? Okay, so I'm done with TikTok. Let me come to YouTube. Just a minute. Yeah. So that is the number. If you want to call on WhatsApp, you're welcome to call. I have less than 30 minutes to go. Okay. Yusuf Kaba says, and you use Bible is a collection of those books, isn't it? So I don't count Bible there. Which books are you talking about? You said Bible is a collection. Look, in the Bible you find some words from God, because the Quran confirms such statements. However, Bible on its entirety is not a book of God. God never revealed a book called Bible. They are books that people join together and then they say Holy Bible, right? So if you find any other book somebody has, and then God can confirm some of the things being said there in the Quran, that becomes the word of God. And fine, I believe in that. Now, me believing in something doesn't mean I follow it. There is a difference. I can believe in something from the Bible, but that doesn't mean I follow it. It is only when the Quran confirms something, I'm still following the Quran, because it's only confirming, but I'm following the Quran. Quran is the book I'm asked to follow, not the Bible. I don't follow the Bible. I follow the Quran. Quran chapter 7, verse 2 to verse 3. I'm asked to follow the Quran, not to go and follow Bible, right? You can choose to believe in something, but that doesn't mean you are following it, right? So I believe in what is in the Torah, the Injil. Yes, I believe, but I don't follow it. Smile says, your cap, where can I buy it? Actually, I have one lovely sister back in Ghana. She's the one doing it. And I'm actually doing this to promote it. She has a lot of designs she has done for me. So subsequently, you will see me wearing different type of this as time goes on. And I'll be putting the information where you can get it, inshallah, right? So you will be getting it. And also my t-shirt will be available for sale very soon, right? For whoever has the picture, I can give you permission to print it, but don't sell it. If you have my picture, I give you permission. You want to print it on your shirt, you have a printer, go ahead. But please don't do it to sell it, because it is a copyrighted image and I can sue you for it, right? You are allowed to print it for yourself, put it for the sake of the support, to the truth. That actually the notion behind the logo is to set the mushriks abuzz. You understand? When they see it, it's just it's just like when a police shows you their badge. What comes to your head? Oh, police. Oh, shit, this is the police. So correctional officer, the notion is the logo is just to set the mushriks abuzz. Because I told them I'm here to stay. And when they start seeing my logo, yeah, they say, oh, the guy is here again. Shit. Like that. So I give you the permission. You can do that, but don't sell it, please. Now, for the quality production, people who want to buy it, it will be available soon. That way you can purchase online or the nearest location very soon, inshallah. Okay, let me see. It says, Brother Shaib, do you agree Hadith are similar to Bible, New Testament, and partially Old Testament? Yes, I agree. Right? I agree. I don't know how to call your name because the way you wrote, I don't know what to pronounce. I don't know if I should say VR360 or to say Howard TV or what should I say? But anyways, I agree. Yes. Masih Shoaib speaking truth doesn't mean I'm liar. Besides Shoaib and all humans, we make mistakes. Don't add it. Yes, well, of course, we can all make mistakes. It is only God. I think Quran chapter 20, verse 52, right? Chapter 20, verse 52. Let me see if I'm right. Yeah. Quran chapter 20, verse 52. La yadillu rabbi wa la yansa. Right? God does not forget and he does not err. He does not err, he does not forget. So it's only God who doesn't do the mistakes or forget. But to err is human. Shuaib can make mistake. So that is why I give the references so that people can verify what I say. So that if there's a mistake, somebody can give me the heads up and correct me as soon as possible. I have like 15 minutes more to go. Thank you, Smile. You're welcome. Geng Hishkan Panisha says, Quran chapter 5, verse 68. Yeah, it talks about the Torah, the Injil, and what God has revealed in the Quran has to be upheld. However, they don't have the original Torah. They don't have the original Injil. According to them, Luke chapter 4, verse 18, it shows that Jesus was saying that he has been anointed to preach the gospel and the Spirit of God is upon him, and then he has to preach the gospel. So it means he has been given the gospel to preach. And these people just keep writing gospel according to Luke, Matthew, Mark, and John. This according to them, not according to Jesus. So they do tell us things that Jesus said, fine. Some things we can agree because the Quran confirms. If the Quran confirms, yes, I can agree. That is why Quran chapter 2 verse 42 says, وَلَا تَلْبِسُ الْحَقَّ بِالْبَاطِلِ وَتَكْتُمُ الْحَقَّ وَأَنْتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ. It says, do not mix or cover the truth with falsehood and conceal the truth while you know. When people mix the truth and the falsehood, this is how they can hide the truth. And this is what some of the Christians and Jews have done with their books. They mix the truth and the falsehood. So when you go to the New Testament, you see a lot of books from Paul. Right? Who is Paul? He never met Jesus. He only saw Jesus, according to him, in his dreams. I can't take such things seriously. Yusuf Kaba says, Brother Shuaib, what are your thoughts about Yajuj, Majuj, and Imam Mahdi as Sunnis say? I'll come to this question. I'll be talking about it next week, right? I'll put it in my next listing. I wash my hands with majority or mainstream Muslims. I'll be talking about that. I'll save it. Let me save it. I'll come to that. Yusuf Kaba, I'll talk about this. Yeah, Masihu Muslim, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Anything I've missed, if you can remind me, if I've answered almost all the questions, I'll be grateful. Then I can leave in peace. Anything I've missed, you can. Aha. Ibu says he didn't see the YouTube alert, just joined. But there will be a replay, so you can watch again, right? Aha. I'm just checking to see what I've missed. Arewa FX says, Salam alaikum. I want to pray for you and I would love you to stay. Yeah, thank you. Pray for me and pray for yourself also, right? Of course, I do pray for people as well. Pray for me, but the point is, if God supports you, none can defeat you. But if he's against you, who else can support you against him? It doesn't work. So I do whatever I'm doing. I do it for the sake of God, right? Aha. So I know God has my back on this. AKS says, Salam alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Should we call ourselves Muslim or believers? There's no problem if you say you are a believer or a Muslim. A believer is somebody who has put his trust and faith in God and he believes. A Muslim likewise. But the point is, a believer is more stronger than a Muslim. A Muslim might have submitted to his will to God, but he is not actually practicing what God instructed him. A believer is somebody who does what God has told him to do. So that's the difference. So it depends on the position you are in where you call yourself a believer. Quran chapter 2, verse 8. If some people will say they believe in God in the last day, but they are not believers. So somebody can actually say, I believe in God, and I believe there is Yawm al-Akhir, but he is not actually a believer, meaning he doesn't do the works of a believer. And I think also in the Bible, James chapter 2, verse 20 to verse 26, it says, faith without works is dead. If you have faith and you don't work for it, it's useless. And I agree with that, right? So that's it. If what you are promoting is true, may we be guided and let it continue. If you say, if what I'm promoting is true, it will rest on you to investigate. Don't doubt what I'm telling you. You have to investigate it. If you ask somebody 1 plus 1 and he says the answer is 2, don't go ahead and say, if the answer you are giving me is true, may we be guided to. No, you have to investigate. Then you have to be sure of what I'm saying. Don't follow me blindly, right? And I'm not here to mislead people with my whims and desire. This is why I give references, I give evidences. I'm not forcing people to believe what I say, right? Believing is a choice. Quran chapter 18, verse 29. If you like, believe. If you like, don't believe. That's not my issue. I only put the things there. You want to believe, fine. You don't want to believe, that's up to you. But please follow me with knowledge. You investigate things I say, then the belief is rest on you, right? But thank you for your supplication anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, I have 5 minutes more to go. Balo say, Malik says, I like the way you teach. Thank you very much. Baba said, in Agan time, sort of 5 minutes. I'll just go right now. I'm getting tired. Balo says what? He says, I asked earlier that what if those mainstream Muslims ask critical questions to up their minds to investigate knowledge about what they practice? Most of them don't know the verse that says, do not pursue what you have learned. Yeah, they don't know. I know. Do not pursue that of which you have no knowledge. It's part of the wisdom God has given us, right? If you read chapter 17, verse 36, if you start reading from chapter 17, verse 22, and you read up to verse 39, it says, ذَلِكَ مِمَّا أَوْحَى إِلَيْكَ رَبُّكَ مِنَ الْحِكْمَةِ. So out of the hikmah God has given us, do not pursue that of which you have no knowledge is part of the hikmah. So ever since God guided me, whatever I'm doing, if I don't have knowledge in whatever you are telling me, or I will not pursue what you're saying. You can't just tell me do something and I'll just do it. I will have to investigate myself, right? So even if right now somebody comes to me and says, Shuaib, this is your phone. Do you know that if you put your phone down, it will become a snake? I will not tell you I believe you. I will take the phone and put it down just to see. Will you become a snake? Let me do it and see. If you say I should do it, do this 10 times and I'll get money. I will do it in front of you like this. Where's the money? This is the wisdom behind what God is telling you. Everything you have to investigate for yourself. Do not pursue that of which you have no knowledge. When you have the knowledge, it means you have the experience for it. and you can prove it. You can say things on it, and that becomes the truth. People have knowledge. A lot of people have knowledge, but the knowledge they have is useless because it's based on lies. You see a lot of shuyuks, they know hadith books, but the hadith books, are they the truth? No. So having knowledge only doesn't help, but investigating the knowledge knows that you know what you're doing. So you claim you are praying 5 times. If I ask you, can you prove it? You are looking at me dead in the eye. You're like, okay, so are you saying we shouldn't pray 5? I didn't say so. Can you prove it? If you can't prove it, why are you doing it? Right? Aha. Thank you. Great. Thank you very much, you two. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And for those who don't have the copy of the Quran, the PDF, if you have direct access to me, I can give it for free. However, I recommend people to purchase it. Like I told you what I do when you purchase, right? Some of the earnings I earn, I do help people with it, right? And also when I organize charity, the feeding programs, I do put in my own money. This is from my own source of, jihad. However, if you have direct access to me, contact me. I'll give you the PDF version. And also the hardcover version, you go to my YouTube page, the links are there. You can get the hardcover version where you can get a copy for yourself, right? It's available there. And thank you for the support. Thank you very much. Tariq Ayub, you're welcome. I appreciate that. Thank you for being present. Tahir Daily Contemplation, thank you all. Thank you. Kudisiya, you're welcome. Masi Muslim, thank you. Baba Sidu, Malik Yakub, Balogun, Yusuf, Kaba, Abdul Samad, I see you all. Thank you, those who are here, those who are not here. Salis, I didn't see you, but I know you are somewhere around, inshallah. Alma Johnson, Sister Alma Johnson. Thank you, all those who are here, those who are not here. Muslima, I know you're watching. If you're not watching, I know you watch later. Thank you all. And for those who are able to answer your questions, that's your luck. Those who I'm not able to answer your questions, maybe it escaped me, but remind me next time, inshallah. I'll have time to answer your questions. I love what I do, and I'm doing it for the sake of God. I would love to answer your questions to help you also do your research and then to gain more knowledge. But remember, God says, وَفَوْقَ كُلِّ ذِي عِلْمٍ عَلِيمٍ. Above every possessor of knowledge, there is the one who is more all-knowing. We all look up to God to get more knowledge. But however, someone will be ahead of you in knowledge, regardless of who you are, right? So if I know more than you, I have to give you some of my knowledge. The more you also come up, you might also give me something to learn as time goes on. If I'm the only knowledgeable person and you don't know anything, that becomes a problem. So I have to give you some of what I know. Later on, maybe you might discover something. I don't know. So this is how we share and go and grow bigger as time goes on. But we all seek God to know more. As Musa alayhi salam went to seek for knowledge in Quran chapter 18, verse 65 to 82, he went to a servant of God who is more knowledgeable than he is. That's how we do. So me sitting here doesn't mean I know it all. But however, the least I know is somebody's ocean. You see? So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for being present. I appreciate your presence. It's a motivation for me to keep going. Inshallah, we keep in touch next week. I'll not be available tomorrow to do a lecture. I'll be with my kids, so I'm not available. So hopefully we keep in touch next week. Like I said, I'm changing my schedule, so I'll start doing my lectures on Wednesdays and Fridays, or maybe I might do once in a week, just the same way I'll do on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, the same time, simultaneously, same time. Or I might do twice in a week, the same way, like this, streaming live on TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube, so that all people on every corner can get to watch me live. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate your support. And then you see me again, hopefully, next week. Thank you, and this is babashuaib, the correctional officer. Till we see again. Peace out.